Welcome to Retro Recommend, a show where I recommend a game that is no longer available on current platforms, but I'll let you know how to get your hands on it. The Test Drive series has been around for a while. In fact, while it's far from a leader in the genre, games in this series date back to before Gran Turismo, Forza, or even Need for Speed ever existed. While it enjoyed success for its first free entries, the next free would go on to be fairly underwhelming arcade racers for 5th gen systems. There was also this weird reboot slash spin-off called Test Drive Overdrive: The Brotherhood of Speed, which is probably the best name for a racing game ever. The game we're here to talk about today is Test Drive Unlimited, released in 2006 for the Xbox 360, later ported to PC, PSP, and PS2. Upon first inspection, Test Drive Unlimited appears to simply be an open-world driving game like any other you might see today. While that's not too far from the truth, you're not just racing for racing's sake. You first get to pick an avatar, and instead of being given a car, you have to rent one so you can drive over to a real estate agent and purchase a house. Within just the first 10 minutes, TDU makes it clear to the player that you're not just some street racer looking to get your car back and maybe get laid. Sure, you're here to win races, but also to pick up models and hitchhikers, deliver cars, buy property, and fill it with more cars. You can also customize your avatar's appearance, like buying new clothes with coupons that you get from driving people around, and even change their appearance in the comfort of your own home. Somehow. Progression is handled via your avatar level. You start out as a rookie, then become an amateur, pro, and so on. Of course, your most tangible marker of progress is your vehicle group, with the lowest being F and the highest being A. Most events will use this as a means of leveling the playing field, although some don't have any restrictions. Test Drive Unlimited was developed by Eden Games, a studio that has always had a hard time getting their car handling down, no matter how polished their game might be. This right here might be the first time I felt fully in control when driving a car in one of their games. The weight of every vehicle is just right, not too heavy, but there's a kick to every corner. You can adjust certain characteristics of the driving model in both the options menu or even as you're driving around by pressing D on your keyboard and then using the numpad to scroll through the list. Personally, I don't find the handling to change too much between the different levels of driving assist, but the option is nice. Regardless of how you set the game up, TDU is definitely closer to an arcade racer with just a hint of realism. You can get away with some ballsy maneuvers, but you also can't just hammer the accelerator on every turn. The only thing that doesn't feel right about driving in this game is the gravity. Yes, cars weigh about as much as they should, but if you ever get some air, you fall a lot faster than in most racing games. It's not really a big deal, but it can be jarring when going over hilly terrain. Apart from racing and picking people up, TDU offers a few more means of raising funds for your fantastical collection. As mentioned before, you can deliver vehicles or packages to people, but unlike the other event types, these cannot be replayed once they are completed. Sometimes you're given a time limit, other times you only have to worry about not damaging your car too much. You're going to want to complete these since they're really not too hard, but the reward is substantial. Aside from that, you can participate in time attacks, pretty standard, but also speed challenges. These either require you to pass a number of speed cameras in order to amass a high total speed between all of them, or reach and hold a top speed for a few seconds. These events are completely open in terms of navigation, so they can be pretty easy to exploit. My go-to early game grinding event is this one right here. You're expected to reach 140 miles an hour on a winding road, except you can just turn around and drive in a straight line. Now that's the kind of oversight that makes me happy. You get 10 grand every time you complete this event, and you can do it so quickly that on a previous save, I had enough for a Group A car about an hour into my total playtime. Of course, I still had to play the game fairly due to the vehicle group restrictions, and that's something I really like about TDU. You can't just cheese the game by grinding and brute forcing the opposition. I've never beaten this game, but it definitely keeps me coming back more than almost any other open world racing game with no linear narrative a la Need for Speed. It also helps that you get an exotic map to drive around. Industrial areas are cool and all, but the tropical island of Oahu makes for a breath of fresh air, especially for the time. It's like if you took the philosophy of the classic era of Need for Speed and updated it for the HD generation. Even if you're not playing online, which I believe is still possible thanks to the dedicated community, TDU doesn't feel lonely. You'll be running into AI racers all over the map just driving around, and running into traffic vehicles will earn you police attention. Most Wanted this ain't, however. The cops aren't very effective at stopping you and will quickly lose interest if you behave yourself for a few seconds. You mainly want to stay out of trouble since starting an event during a pursuit will force you to pay a fine. Thanks to the lush environments and lack of excessive post-processing, Test Drive Unlimited has aged aged very well visually speaking. The colors are easy on the eyes and cars still look good, although the interiors are a bit lacking. Despite leaning a bit into the Frutiger Aero style, the menus still feel pretty good to use, and the sound design for them is great. In general, this game sounds excellent, with every engine type sounding close to what it should be, and there's even an over-the-top announcer for the races, which I've always been a fan of. Without question, Test Drive Unlimited is one of the best open-world driving games. Hell, I'd even say just open-world games in general of the mid-2000s, and is still a good time. If you want to play it today, you've got a few options. If you really don't trust downloading PC games outside of Steam for some reason, you can emulate the PS2 version. It doesn't look quite as good and drives a little differently, but it's an incredibly impressive conversion given the hardware. If you're not so paranoid about third-party downloads, I would recommend you visit either Old Games Download or My Abandonware for the PC version. The former comes pre-installed, so you can just run the game directly, but I don't think it's the most up-to-date version. The latter provides you with several downloads, with the one that I played for this video being the Magipack release, which comes with the community-made version 2.00a update, as well as a custom DG Voodoo configuration to enable VSync. If you want even more content, you can install the TDU Platinum mod, which adds a truckload of new cars, textures, and some tweaks to the car handling. Test Drive Unlimited is awesome, and it can still be enjoyed today with relative ease. I'll see you in another Retro Recommend. Be sure to subscribe and support the show in the description below.